engineers, even though we were millwrights, the artisans. When the AFL was founded by a Jewish man by the name of Samuel Gompers, one of the first things he instituted is no Negroes allowed.
That's right.
See,
unionized.
He unionized and kept us out. So even
AFL-CIO, they call it today.
Yes, sir. And even though you had that skill, you had to be a janitor. Even though you was an engineer, you was a Pullman porter. You could sell sandwiches on the train, but you could not exercise in the arena or the sphere of your intellect.
That's right.
And now you do this for 100 years, and that allows those who were behind you to move forward. And then when they needed the skill, brother, study this in history. Don't take my word for it. Check it out for yourself. They started bringing in the European immigrants to provide that particular service that you had been providing for 300 years. So this is why a man can get off the boat yesterday and move past you, because systematically these things were done to us. There were government policies, there was the enforcement, there was domestic terrorism by the Ku Klux Klan, the White Citizen Council, the Night Riders and the local police who were perpetrating like they was here to protect and serve, but they wasn't there to protect and serve.
They were called slave patrols.
Come on. And if you check that particular history, and I'll close with this, you will see the things that was done, but you also see a model of success that we can implement and emulate. We have those who are doing this now. I only highlighted Dr. Futrell because I know the brother personally, and his work speaks for itself. But there are many others here in Memphis and other cities who are doing those things. Why we got to constantly
get a jalabia on and give a note or letter to the president outlining his concerns as a U.S. citizen that they didn't agree. Next thing you know,
he's out the league.
He's out the league. Wouldn't know, but just like they're doing Colin Kaepernick now.
Yes, sir.
See, the Negro has no right to behave himself in a way that he demonstrate dissent due to injustice and ill treatment in a way that affects, what they got going on. In other words, any kind of behavior that's bad for business. See, this is why the protest, to our brothers and sisters who like to protest, they'll give you a dang permit to do that.
That's right, brother.
They'll block the street off for you to do it. They'll give you an escort. But you have to do it according to the way they want you to do it. You see, if you go out and do what happened in Frazier, they'll quell that.
Yeah, that's a mob according to them.
But see, the effective protest is what Dr. King was doing when he told us to completely withdraw economically.
Yes.
See, what Kaepernick was doing, his protest was getting the attention of other players who were following suit. So now that, that's a potential thorn in the side of the economics of the league.
Yes.
So now they are going, okay, cool, all right. So they'll go and blackball you, or I should say white ball, cue ball you.
Yeah.
Because the cue ball knocks all of the other balls around.
Right, it's the last one on the table.
So I don't know why they use black ball. They should use cue ball you. Just to play on words, y'all. Don't get upset. That's so daggone
sensitive nowadays.
And they knock you off the table. So here's a man in the prime of his career, and they'll go and dig up players who have far more issues, drug issues, criminal issues and trouble with the law, and give them a contract. And, just to let you know, brother and sister,
not gonna happen. And they have the audacity to try to make it seem like it was talent-based decision. You have pro football players tell you, man, you just gave this man $10 million. He couldn't play dead. And then they say, well, we don't know if he really want to be in the league. Well, this man was driving the cab. Yeah. He had retired. So he done told you he don't want to play.
He told you he tired. He through.
Yeah.
They brought the man out of retirement.
It was just ludicrous,
and the thing that, in our history, brother, we always had, there were people who knew that we were being mistreated, knew we were slaves. But when we were emancipated, there were those who didn't even want to go free. Their preference was to stay with the master.
Right.
And you have those minds among us today. You know. And they'll say, well, you know, they'll be against any kind of, how can I say, what the dominant society perceives as radical, which is really not. Anybody that speaks truth to power in a way that disturbs or that is displeasing to the dominant society, they can always find the black person, the so-called American Negro, that's willing to be the mouthpiece and apologist for the wrongdoer.
Yes, sir.
You know, and I can call the roll of them. There's a lot of them. You can find these Negroes everywhere. You know, and I'm not understanding, if you're offended by me using the word Negro, well, that's what they gave us. They started calling us that. It just simply means dead. They just gave a name that fitted the state of mind that they put us in. Mental death. And you can always find those, well, I'm against reparations. But you are not against America giving Israel all that money. You don't open your mouth because you know better. Let's keep it 100, as the brothers say in the street.
Right.
Keep it 100. You know who to say something against. But see, brothers and sisters, if we would effectively organize and make voices like that suffer a political and economic consequence for positioning themselves in opposition to what is right and what is just. See, they can do that because we're disconnected. But see, those members of the Jewish community, they strong, they small. But they know. Don't offend them. Because your career will be over overnight.
Overnight. Ask Arsenio Hall.
Yeah, so who is that brother that's the senator? What's his name? Can't think of it now. Came out and said he's against reparations.
That's Tim Scott.
There he is. He agrees with Mr. McConnell. Based on what, brother? Well, what is the basis upon which you agree with Mr. McConnell, and what is the basis upon which you disagree with what is just? Well, they just can't do it. Oh, they can't? Really? But they can give all those resources to Israel. It is not like we were saying yesterday, brother. It's not so much as resources per se, although that's part of it now. In Europe, looking at the Leaning Tower, which is really an architectural blunder in architecture. So they make the mistake they made in their calculation in terms of building that structure. You know, go look at the Leaning Tower. It's leaning because they didn't know what they were doing. Come on, man, let's keep it winding.
Yes, sir. And now they just made it a tourist attraction.
It's a tourist attraction now. A mistake is a tourist attraction. It's a Leaning Tower. Like Pee Wee Herman, I meant to do that. Yeah, right.
Go ahead, man.
I know some of our people are saying, man, look at man, he just negative. No, just be honesty and truth. And some of us just don't like it because it disturbs us in our comfort, you know, of being satisfied with nothing collectively as a people. So it's not going to be until they disturb your comfort that you realize, and it's coming. Oh boy, it's coming. They're going to disturb the heck out of you. But brother, you said something earlier, Brother Kenneth, about the cotton. And I think I went over this yesterday. Did I share with the audience what's written in Volume 2 of Secret Relationships Between Blacks and Jews in terms of what one bale of cotton produced?
No, sir. We was going to get to it, but we ran out of time. So
I didn't get to it.
Yeah, so it was just a good segue for you to do what you got to do, brother.
But in the first printing of Volume 2, and it's in the second printing, it's just on a different page. But in the book, The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, Volume 2, how Jews gain control of the black economy. It's the subtitle of this book that they banned
from
Amazon from selling. Amazon can't even sell what they want. Ain't that something?
They sell everything else.
Sell everything else. You can't sell the truth about certain people. But then you can't stop us from telling it. But in this book, it talks about how the European Jewish people waxed rich off of cotton production, while at the same time having no heart whatsoever to pay the people that harvested for them a livable wage. It's written in this book, it says, quote, a single bale of cotton picked by a black man or woman for the meager daily wage of 43 cents. In a whole day, you made 43 cents. But that bale of cotton in the hands of Jewish clothing manufacturers throughout the lower east side of New York could be transformed into 215 pairs of jeans or 690 terry cloth bath towels or terry bath towels or 1,256 pillowcases or 2,104 men's boxer shorts. Or they can convert that bale of cotton into 3,085 diapers. Or they can even convert that bale of cotton into 249 bed sheets. And the revenues reaped from all of those things that they would produce out of that bale of cotton, not 1 cent, not a penny of those value-added cotton products accrued to anyone in black skin. You got your 43 cents for that bale of cotton that you picked, that was it. So now let's update that. In 1907, one bale of cotton could produce 800 men's dress shirts. And those dress shirts could generate $4,400 in revenue. That was in 1907. Now let's use an inflation calculator that'll bring us up to around 2018. You know what I found, brother, when I did the calculation?
What's that, brother?
According to a CPI inflation calculator, $4,400, which is what that bale of cotton would generate in revenue if it was converted into 800 men's dress shirts. In 1907, it would produce $4,400. But if you would convert that in a lot for inflation up to the end of 2018, guess how much that one bale of cotton would produce in revenue? $117,539.40, according to a CPI inflation calculator.
One bale.
One bale. So $4,400 in 1907 for one bale of cotton, that was a lot of cheese, man. And we only got 43 cents for that whole bale. That's so now we have the ability, if we so desire, plant our own cotton.
Exactly. Produce these things for ourselves. This is why the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan, with the 3-year economic blueprint, was saying if we were just, 16 million of us, it's the number use 5 cents a day. Can we do 5 cents, a nickel? 35 cents a week, $1.20 a month. Can we do it? You don't even miss that.
What's that? $20 and
$18.20
$18.20 a year.
And just think about it. You go out to dinner, you go out anywhere, you can barely park downtown for that. And if we did that, put it into a national treasure, we would have close to $300 million at the end of the year. After that, then we can start buying acreage of land, not little plots, but acreage. And we did this for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and kept doing this. Everything that we saying that we need, we could take care of those things. And this is why we have to get in a room, as Student Minister Anthony said, and have this conversation. And it just can't be rhetoric. The conversation has to produce results. You can't be sitting in a room with everybody that agrees with you. Unity, that's not unity. Unity comes about when you have people of different philosophies, different ideologies come together. And when someone disagrees with you, then you're able to come up with a methodology to produce the unity that we need. And so these are the things that we as black people, and again, when we talking black or saying that we're pro-black, this does not necessarily mean we're anti-white. And those of us who are apologists for a system of oppression, who perpetrate that they're the mouthpiece of the masses, have to stop promoting that. See, as Brother Andre was saying, we've always, if you study the black experience historically, we've always had those who sought nearness to the master. We've always had those among us. And you can even go back to biblical times when you look at the children of Israel during their exodus of Egypt and their great emancipator, their great liberator, Moses and Aaron, went up against Pharaoh. And then once they had to strike out on their own, go into the wilderness, go into the desert, and make a way for themselves, there were those who started murmuring against Moses. Now here's a man that took on the